health and a little wealth and a lot of love.
Tell our listeners a little bit more about kind of some specific strategies that you've used in the past to grow your income.
Yeah, I use them all. And so I knew I wanted to get in finance. That was something that I was very, very interested in just because I wanted to accelerate my financial literacy. That's not something that's taught in school, which absolutely should be taught in school. But also, looking at my parents, how does the money work? How does the economy work? How all that, what's the national debt? How does inflation work? So I was really, really interested in pursuing that. And then what I did is I look at the top companies in the financial services industry. And I banked with Bank of America, so I decided to work for them. And then I've also moved around quite a bit. And it change your life, change your job. So the theme of that is a lot of people get complacent in their specific jobs. I strongly recommend the best way to find a job is when you're not looking for one. That is very, very powerful. And I could talk more about that in just a second, but I want to finish, my thought process as far as how I got that level. I got many certifications. So my company offered Series 7. You can get $1,000 raise if you got a Series 7. Boy, did I spend every weekend trying to learn that. I was probably happiest I've ever been trying to get that license. It's a lot harder, especially if you work in the markets or whatever. It's a lot harder than I thought. So that's one thing. And then I got my Six Sigma. Six Sigma was so big back in the day. And I got my Six Sigma, Lean Six Sigma. You can get your black belt, your master black belt. It really is process improvement. I use that almost every single day in my life. I consider myself a productivity expert. Hence I'm using a PlayStation 5 to switch between cameras because it's a lot more efficient than what I was doing before. So yeah, there's a few things that I've done to really maximize your wealth building potential.
So multiple ways that you grew your skill set.
Absolutely.
Obviously. Yeah. You'd mentioned this about changing jobs, which I think we're seeing a huge shift. There were prior generations, the boomers, where you stay with the same employer, the same job for 30, 40 plus years. And you'd mentioned, the importance of obviously changing your jobs, the whole topic of today's discussion. But now that we're potentially going into another recession, I think that probably makes people nervous. Would you still recommend that, changing your job to help to grow your income faster?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, actually, I would recommend that. And here's why. If you see a job out there and they're hiring, 9 times out of 10, they have budget to build and to hire. That's a growing area in your department. And so, in my opinion, especially in times like now, it's better to look for jobs now because in some areas, your department may be consolidating underneath the center of excellence. You never know. Or it may be moving into a different strategy, which, offshore, that might be a strategy that your area or your department is looking for. So I strongly recommend people to look for jobs while they don't need one, especially in times like this, especially if you've been in the job for 2 to 5 years. I believe that healthy growth and healthy acceleration is changing your job every 2 to 5 years. More specifically, I quadrupled my income, which is in my ebook, which is if you go to suitsandscrubs.com, it has everything out there that I've done in my story that could probably help other people. If I had it at 18 years old, I would be a lot further than I am now. It's just taking, I say it's my life's work in 30 pages. And if you don't like it, you can use it as a doorstop. At the end of the day, it's trying to help people. And so I do believe that, my biggest tools to success was changing my job, but maximizing those skill sets. Don't overdo it, right? Because I've hired over 200, 300 people in my career. And if I see a lot of jumps in your resume, I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't build loyalty. It doesn't build that. And if I hire someone, I want to invest in them, vice versa on the other side. So you want to do it strategically, and you want to do it through your network. But I absolutely recommend people, changing their jobs, especially right now.
With a little health and a little wealth and a lot of love, that's the life that we live. Suits and scrubs.